I absolutely support you free speech as long as you don't disagree with me. The second you disagree with me, now it's state-sponsored media,
Yep.
you're too woke, you're a sheep, or whatever.
That's right. Promo UPFront. Money in the pit. The moment. A full podcast.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right as we start episode number 145 of the Promo Upfront podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, let's call him the Brigadier General of the Budget, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the kashaktin are you today?
Doing well, doing well. The spring has officially sprung. The weather's been fantastic. I actually was doing a little mowing last night, which I get some joy out of. I love me some Beatles. So thank you for leading the show with some Beatles lyrics there. So yeah, I'm doing really well. How about you, buddy?
Doing great. Doing awesome. It's been busy as we kind of get ready for the promo cruise here in a couple of weeks. And so been busy with that, been busy with a lot of brand evade stuff. So honestly, things have been going great. Things have been crazy. It got me to thinking, Kirby, as things tend to do on occasion.
It does, yeah.
Things are crazy right now. Orders are flying in. Everyone is juggling so many different projects at once, and time is moving faster than ever. It's times like these when you really need to partner with a supplier that makes it so easy for you. Thankfully, there is a supplier who has built every process, procedure, and product offering around making life easier for their distributor partners. Product searching at Evans? Easy. Working with the Evans sales team? Easy. Placing an order with Evans? Oh, that's easy. Working with customer service at Evans? Easy. Billing invoicing at Evans and invoicing at Evans? Easy. Kirby, can you see a theme here?
I can see a theme, and you know what? It's a theme that we all need in business right now. The more we can make our lives easy, the more we can reduce friction, the better we can deliver for our customers. So that's exciting to have Evans make it that way.
Kirby, 100% right, but let's face it, why should anyone take our word for it when
They shouldn't.
unsolicited comments from distributors say better than we ever could? Here's one that perfectly sums up what it's like to work with Evans. Here's the quote. Evans hands down delivers on every single order we shoot their way. I'm always confident that when submitting a PO over to Evans, that the proof in the order will arrive correct and on time. There have been more than several times Evans has gone above and beyond for us, and I value that partnership. They make it easy for me to do my job. So, Kirby, if you're tired of the wheels flying off when it comes to working with other suppliers, and I would think everybody is,
Yeah.
it's time to make your life easier by working with our good pals over at Evans. Visit them at evans-mfg.com to make your life easier today. So, Kirby, this is episode 145. We're almost to what I would usually call the sesquicentennial edition, but let's call it Sasquatch Sensational Edition. That will be number 150 here in 5 episodes. You have the honor of bringing in the upfront topic today, and I'm real excited to see what you got because I have no idea.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it in sort of the open that you are leaning into the stress, I'm sure. I mean, it's going to be stress less for the people who are a part of it, but probably high stress right now for you and Mr. Robbins getting ready for the inaugural promo cruise. And so, I just think this is such a cool concept. You are my buddy. I want to talk about it, but also I want to, how are things going? Right. And then more for like the top line concept here is, what have you learned so far?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for asking. It'll be very interesting to go on the promo cruise here in just a week. These are the event hats. I just put on the event hat actually, and this is no joke. It was just laying right here. So I'm going to wear the event hat. It's the crunch time. 9 days away as we drop this podcast when everybody will descend on hopefully a dried out Fort Lauderdale by that time. Hopefully the rain will have abated. And we get on that boat. We have about almost 60 people going on the promo cruise. So big undertaking. We're trying to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, do all the little details that really make an event memorable and special. I spent some time earlier this week up at Josh's office. We packed out our pre-sailing merch kits, which should hit today and maybe yesterday again, or maybe tomorrow, depending on where you live, if you are a distributor heading out on the promo cruise. And that was exciting to see all the great merchandise that suppliers have called for us. And then we've kind of planned what the check-in looks like at the hotel when we all get there. So it's a lot of stuff like that. And then on the other side is the technology side. One of the things that we very ambitiously have bitten off was to build an app. And that has kind of fallen a lot in my lap. That's something I took on. I will tell you that I'd rather have every tooth pulled than go through this process again. I got to tell you, having Apple verify an app and having Google Play do the same thing, it's been painful, but it's been a great learning process. So I'm not looking at it as a negative thing. I'll be glad when it's all published, and fingers crossed it should be by the time this podcast drops on Friday. But it's been a tremendous learning experience, and I love, me, I love to learn new things. So what have we learned from it? What have we learned from this? We've learned better ways to communicate. I'll tell you that. One of the things that Josh and I have is a Google chat open all the time. And we kind of declared no more sending requests or files through Google Chat, because what it ends up being is an endless scroll fest, right? It's just we can't have it. And I live, and Josh does too. We both live in our calendar and in our email. So if it's an email and it's sitting in there, I've got to do something about it. So we've decided that. The other thing is, we thought we were organized really, really well in the very beginning, but we both share a Google Drive. We share a joint Google Drive for promocations, and he files things his way. I file things my way. Neither one are right or wrong, but neither one of us understand each other's brain either. And so there's been a lot of times where it's like, where can I find this? I don't know where this is. So we had to kind of undo everything and redo it. But that was okay. That was necessary. So things I've learned: A, have a great partner doing this, and I couldn't ask for a better partner than Josh Robbins from Vault. B, don't be shy about speaking up when you feel like things aren't working. And both of us have done that, when we felt like, we're not in sync here, or, there was a time, I'll give a perfect example. There's a time I was feeling completely stressed and overwhelmed because I don't know where to begin. I feel like there's a million tasks out there, but I don't even know what they are.
Right.
And so I sat down and I wrote out every task that needed to be completed with a person assigned to them, with a due date and a notes section, so we could check those things off. And just the simple exercise of doing that made it feel so much better. And I've learned that we should have brought our event planner on probably earlier. I think we announced earlier this week, we hired Brandon Williams to be our event manager. And I got to tell you, people who are going to be on that ship, whether this sailing or the next sailing, or they're going to love him. He's a truly, truly, truly tremendous human being. Great experience in event planning and things like that. Plus, he knows how to bartend. Is there a better representative of promocations than that? So Brandon's going to be on the boat. And so those are some of the things I've learned. Right now I'm still in the planning. I think we need to do a post-mortem afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. But honestly, it's hard to believe that it's finally here. It's been a year in the planning, and there's a decent chance we're going to pull this off.
I'm coming no matter what. So, but what I would say too is, as I hear you saying some of these things, the next one will still be challenging. There'll still be details. There'll still be this, but there's so much of this stuff you're doing for the first time, creating that playbook, that, I have to think it will be a little bit smoother round 2, 3, and 4. You know what I mean?
It will. For example, when for the first one, we had to build a whole website, and that's something I had taken on. And now we're about to announce Promo Cruise 2.
Mhm.
Might be announced by the time this drops tomorrow, but it's November 4th through the 9th. This
Nice.
fall in
Yeah.
2023, we've already got a couple suppliers signed up.
Awesome.
So we do expect it to sell out pretty quick. And the big change is we're not stopping in Nassau for Promo Cruise 2, or we're trading that out for Cozumel.
Oh, nice.
So I think we're getting a good end of the deal on that one. So yeah, it's a lot. So it's just updating the website. I didn't have to redo the whole website. It was just updating it. It
Same
took
with
me
the app
maybe
probably too.
45. Yeah, same with the app and things like that. So it's anytime you have an undertaking. This happened when Brand of Eight began. This happened every time I started a new job. You build all these things that ideally you can repurpose. They're
Right.
80% done, they're 60% done, they're 90% done. And then you can individualize it to the event, to the person, to the company, to whatever it needs to be. And so, yes, there's still going to be stresses. There always will
course.
be when you do
Yeah.
something like this. But getting the first one under our belt, feeling like we've done everything we can do. There's certain things that are out of our control, right? If it rains, it rains. I can't control that.
Sure.
But we're pretty excited about it, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you
Dude,
asking.
it's gonna be awesome. Really excited about
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Cool.
Well, I'm pretty fired up, but
it.
I got to amp it up another notch. Hey, big news! Promo Pulse has, speaking of apps,
Yeah.
Promo Pulse has just released a major update to their free award-winning app. Distributors can now access the same gorgeous marketing content that users access via the popular AMP service. So you can do that through the app now. The app makes it super easy to share content on social or directly with your clients. When you include the search functionality, this app is a game changer for distributors. So update it or download it today. Promo Pulse is what you need to be looking for in your local app store. You don't need to go to a big box store. Shop local. Go to your local app store and download Promo Pulse. Okay, Kirby, let's talk about budget cuts. That's why I called you the Brigadier General of the budget in the beginning.
Okay.
I think with a lot of my clients that I work with, especially on the distributor side, they're hearing a lot of either budget freezes, budget cuts, or the looming possibility of said budget freezes or budget cuts. And I thought it would be a good time to talk about I'd like your input on this. I'm blindsiding you with this a little bit.
Sure.
But these are tips from Billy. If you're a distributor, what to do when you have a client, large client maybe, that is considering budget cuts. You're worried about that they're going to cut budgets, they're going to freeze spending because of the economy and all this. There's things you can do and things you should do immediately. So I'd like your input on these. You're blindsided, and if I've missed things, please add to them, Kirby Hasseman. Number one, biggest mistake I see, and this is something I know won't surprise you, Kirby, address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, communication.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I knew you were going to say it. Yeah.
Acknowledge that budgets might be cut. You have people who are controlling spend. They are aware that budgets might be cut. It's okay to broach the subject. Hey, are you concerned with budgets? And what you can do, what that does immediately makes people less defensive and more honest, and more, it kind of gives them that I don't have to hide that we might be going through this. So that's number one: address the elephant in the room, have an open conversation.
Yeah, and I
And
think
you wanna
it
add
also
anything?
gives credibility to you
Yep.
as a distributor partner, because it is amazing to me. You talked about it. It's like most people won't broach a subject. They put their head in the sand and hope it doesn't happen. But the people who bring it up are the ones where people go, oh, well, they get it, they understand, and they are a partner. So yeah, I think that if that's the only thing they do, that's a big step.
That's a start.
That's 80% ahead of most people, I would say.
Absolutely. But you want to go a little further. Now what you can do is go on the offensive. Recognize that budgets might be cut, but they're still going to be spending. So the conversation you need to be having is, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, let's figure out how we can maximize your ROI on what you will spend. That's my focus right now.
Yeah.
It's not about increasing their spend. It's not about asking for a little bit over here, a little more. It's about making what they are going to spend, whether it's 70%, 60%, 50% of what they normally do, making that impact as maximum as possible. And when you start to have a conversation like that, you're talking about being a partner.
Yeah.
You're not saying the word partnership, but just throwing on way too casually. You are really showing, look, I'm not trying to get any more money out of you. What I want to do here is maximize your ROI.
Yeah. So totally love that. And I think that what it also does, because yeah, I had said partner, and then you use the word partner, and that's exactly right. And I think that when you can open up that conversation, it's not just about, so
Yeah.
I think what you were saying is, if I'm putting words in your mouth, tell me, I want to make sure that whatever branded merch you're buying, we want to get the most bang for your buck out of that.
Yep.
I actually
Yep.
think taking it up and to say, okay, let's talk about the other places you're spending money so that we can use the branded merch to collaborate with that. So if you're doing, you know, social
Absolutely.
media, how do we do an influencer campaign that you're so good at
Right.
doing? Like, then all of a sudden, again, you go back to, instead of just being a salesperson, you're a marketing consultant, and they start talking to you about
Absolutely.
bigger things. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love what you added to that. 100% right. You talk about how we can work in concert with other things you're
Yep.
already doing, how we can really
Yep.
build campaigns. I love
And
it.
again, you're not,
Number
it's
three.
not, it's not
Yeah.
adversarial, right? It's not that,
No.
oh, don't do digital marketing, do branded merch. No,
No.
we need to do both, but we just need to do it effectively. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And how do they coordinate? How do they coordinate
Yeah.
together, right? How do they work together instead of maybe working apart? And that does happen. All right. Number 3, survey time. There's no better time than when your clients are under stress from budget cuts to ask them, given what we've done over the past X amount of years, months, whatever, what do you feel has been the most effective? And what do you feel has been the least effective? I'd love to understand that so we can really, again, this kind of goes back to point 1. We can really start targeting your branded merchandise spend to really maximize it. Again, it's a flow of a conversation to have these discussions.
Honestly, I hadn't thought of that, so I like that a lot. And I think you're doing exactly right. Number 1, again, it's an engaging in a conversation, but it also really arms you with interesting information moving forward. So that's great.
Absolutely. It puts you in the position of helping. So those are the 3 things you need to talk to your client about. Here's a 4th bonus thing you need to do, and this is internally. Now, this is if you have a few salespeople. If you're a solopreneur, this is something you should be doing anyway. This is something every organization should be doing. If budgets are being cut, that doesn't mean that companies stop buying promotional products. It means that they're buying less branded merch. That's all it means. So now is the time to run a new account contest.
Yes.
Time to get out there and find new accounts. Stop lamenting the fact that company X is cutting their budgets. You don't have any control over that.
Right.
You never will have any control over that. What you do have control over, though, is expanding your client base so that when budget cuts happen, you're not as impacted. And you have an opportunity now to grow your business because you understand they're under significant budget pressure. So the first conversation you have is, I know you can buy promotional products anywhere. What I want to do is help you maximize that spend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. And it makes me feel good, to be honest with you, because this is exactly where we are. And not that we've had a really good first quarter, but that's our focus right now on building our business is through new accounts. So that is, we're creating a sort of a new plan, a new contest, all that sort of thing. So I agree with you. We went back and looked, okay, here's how many paying customers we had in 2022. Here's how many we had in 2021. We want to increase the total number of customers to this. And so this is exactly the conversation we've been going through. So based on, again, it just makes me feel good that I'm not completely off my rocker.
Well, no, you're never off your rocker.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But I got to tell you, these are the things that distributors can do right now. Now.
Yeah.
We talk about this is not wait till next week, wait till a month, do it today. Every minute you're not processing orders is a day in an order you'll never have back.
Yeah.
Go out and get them. All right, Kirby, what you got?
All right. Let's see. I feel like it's been weird because we haven't mentioned Twitter today. I just feel like we talk about every episode. So I'm gonna bring up Twitter. So I don't know if you've seen this, but apparently NPR and I think it was PBS also were slapped with a state affiliated media tag, which essentially kind of equates them to government propaganda, like the China Daily, the Russia Today. And so, yes, both of those organizations do get a little bit of government funding. But it's less than 1% of their budget, all that sort of thing. So this is fascinating. Based on pushback, Twitter actually did remove the tag, but NPR has decided to pull. They are going to keep 52 accounts, which I guess would probably be reporters live. But the media organization said in a statement, we're not putting our journalism on platforms that have demonstrated an interest in undermining our credibility. I'm totally fascinated by this. I wanted, obviously I have some thoughts about this, but I'm real quick from you.
Yeah.
What thoughts do you have about NPR and PBS, who also did the same thing, kind of pulling from Twitter? I think I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear what you say.
Okay. Well, I mean, Twitter's a private owned entity, so they can do what they want. It's not a public trust, although,
Sure.
you wish it would be. I think we're at a real tipping point here, and I
Me
think we're
too.
seeing it. And it's certainly fascinating, as you said. It's also very scary. I'm sure there are people who would call me some sort of sheep because I would say I don't view NPR or PBS as state sponsored propaganda or state sponsored media. I don't at all. That's like saying if you got a loan over the course of the pandemic to keep your people on board, are you a state sponsored sales agency? So I don't view it that way. I think it's sad. I think the whole thing is just sad. And the problem is you have people on the extreme both sides that will not bend, will not listen, will not yield. And so it's just this weird quagmire. So yeah, I'm fascinated by it, but I think it's absolutely very, very profoundly sad.
So my take on this is, number one, I literally every time we have a conversation about Twitter, I feel like I'm watching the Elon Musk version of a Matthew McConaughey rom-com, How to Lose a Company in 10 Days.
Yeah.
But the thing that I actually thought of you when I read this, because you have said Twitter is my least favorite platform. It has been for years. Ironically, most followers, but I just don't get value out of it.
Sure.
And I haven't for a long time. Like, it's just the fire hose of
Right.
it was never a value. But one of the things you have said is that you like Twitter because it was a place to get headlines. Well,
Yep.
they are actively driving away media organizations away from the platform. And, as the guy who, says, I want free speech, boy, unless they say something shitty about Elon Musk, and then he's not as overtly in favor of it. So again, I've said this before, Elon's smarter than me. Maybe he has a bigger play that I don't understand yet, but you wrote an article about LinkedIn a week or so ago, and I appreciate your perspective. I wildly disagreed with it on many things, but like the idea that somehow Twitter has more value than LinkedIn to me is no way. And the idea that I just feel like it's getting worse and worse by the day.
Yeah, it might be time for a bilatorial. I think what you see happening with Twitter is just a reflection of what's going on in society. I absolutely support what we hear from everybody. I absolutely support you free speech as long as you don't disagree with me. The second you disagree with me, now it's state-sponsored media,
Yep.
you're too woke, you're a sheep or whatever. And you said it last week and it bears repeating. I don't remember exactly what you said, but the feeling I got from it, which is more important than the words, is just because I disagree with someone doesn't mean I can't like them.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I may have perfect example, Brandon Kennedy. Brandon Kennedy works for Brandco. He owns his own company through American Solutions for Business. Great guy. He loves In-N-Out Burger. I'm never going to change his mind on that. And I love Whataburger, and he's never going to change my mind on that. And we go back and forth. We will never agree on that, but we agree on so many other things. That doesn't matter. Now,
Right.
obviously, I'm being a little cheeky, but even if it's a political thing, if you and I didn't agree on a certain political candidate, I could still be friends with you because there's a million other things we agree on.
Yeah.
And I think we've lost that. And I think you're seeing that as a reflection on Twitter because it does feel that it's a 10-year-old with a roving, a cloud of a temper tantrum over his head all the time. if someone writes or posts something he doesn't agree with, he is very quick to react. Now, when people's accounts get hacked and things like that, not so quick to react. I can tell you that from personal experience. So, in the last comment I would like to make, if I may, sir,
Of course.
I don't think Twitter has more value than LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I'm sorry that came across. What I think about LinkedIn, and maybe we do another discussion about
Yeah,
this. I
we
think
can dive in on this. That's fine.
yeah, I think LinkedIn has such great potential,
Mhm.
but because of the way information flows on there, they are shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I don't like the platform.
Yeah,
So
so you
I
said
think
several
it could be
things that I
live.
did agree with on that
Yeah,
blog post, just so we're clear. And I
I know.
loved your concept of that we have the ability to help make it better. That was the piece that I loved about it. So again,
Right.
what I liked about that blog, Bill, is you made me think, and I love it when people make me
Well,
think.
I like making people think.
Yeah.
Again, for people who didn't read the blog, it was basically just saying, I think LinkedIn is broken.
Mhm.
Didn't say it was best, worst, or anything.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think it's broken.
Fair.
And the main reason it's broken is because too many solicitors treat it like
Spam.
a spam. It's like they're trying to it's a date, like an online dating site. I cannot tell you how many times I connect with somebody because they appear interesting,
Right.
or okay, they're in a related field, and 3 seconds later I get some sort of email through my
100%.
InMail of, hey, would you like to sell your distributorship? Well, you clearly didn't. Oh, yeah. My favorite is always like, oh, I've gone through your profile, man. You're impressive. Would you like to sell your distributorship? I don't have a distributorship. All those type of things really
Yes.
neuter the impact of what LinkedIn could be.
Agreed. Yeah, it's again, I took a shot there, and I apologize, but
That's okay.
it was
No reason to apologize. I like a
it,
shot. I can take a shot. In
you
fact, on
can.
the boat, I'll be taking lots of shots.
We're gonna take lots of shots for sure. I'm looking forward to that. No, it's good stuff, and it is sad. Like to echo what you said, sad to see the weird thing. It's
Ugh.
to me, it's not even sad. It's just weird what Twitter is going through. Because when I think a lot of us, and me included, oh, Elon Musk is taking over Twitter, it's gonna get really good, and man, it certainly hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. All right. Real quick one, Kirby,
Yep.
before we put our foot in our mouths any further. All right. I don't know if you saw this, Kirby, but Walmart had a little bit of a brand fail with
Oh,
a piece of apparel
okay.
that they put out. It was kind of profane, as it were. So it was a T-shirt that promoted something I think a lot of us believe in, which is sustainability and the environment. And the shirt had a big RE
Yep.
and then words you would say with that, like reuse, recycle, renew, rethink. Unfortunately, those words were stacked in such a way that the first letter after the word re spelled out in 4 letters a very sensitive part of the female anatomy. And it's a word we cannot say on this particular
No.
podcast. The company said it was a mistake and they've pulled them from the shelves. I ask you, Kirby, as a marketing maestro, was this on purpose? Because I'm sorry, I saw it immediately the second I saw the shirt.
Okay.
Before I read the headline.
Okay, so
I mean, that tells you where my brain is at. But
well,
that's
maybe
what I saw.
because I'm embarrassed that I didn't. And when I say I didn't, I mean I didn't. I
Like you really had to look.
No, I this morning
Mhm.
I have this picture up and everybody's making fun of it and laughing about it. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well,
I'm writing, I literally wrote out the words. I'm like, am I seeing it? And then finally, you have the moment where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
now I see
You just
it.
have to be like you just have to be like our friend Mike and hunt for it. But once you find it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, Kirby.
Yeah. No, I get it. That being said, everybody's arguing that, oh, you got to proof this stuff. You got to proof this stuff.
Yeah.
You could have had me proof it for 17 hours and I wouldn't have seen it. I'm an idiot.
Well,
I'm the idiot. I totally will throw up my hand on that. But I mean, over the span of 2 days, I looked for it and didn't see it. I'm not kidding. So anyway, it's was it on purpose?
I don't think.
I'm guessing no.
Yeah, I don't think people would do this on purpose. You're asking for far more backlash than anything positive coming from this. And here's the thing. People make mistakes, and that's okay. That's kind of what makes the world a beautiful place, honestly, that mistakes can be made. Like you said, you could have had 5 people proof it, and if they don't see it, they don't see it, right? If they
I
don't,
did not see it, man.
and so I think it's pretty funny. I'm sure that people are printing up versions of those shirts as we record this podcast.
Exactly.
And you know what they'll do is they're going to make it really, really, really easy for
Obvious.
people to get those shirts. But you know who else makes it super easy, Kirby, to do business with them?
Who's that, Bill?
That would be our good pals over at Evans Manufacturing. That's right. Product searching at Evans, easy. Working with the Evans sales team, easy. Placing an order with Evans, oh, you know that's easy. Working with customer service at Evans, please, easy. Billing and invoicing at Evans, easy. Guys, their whole world is dedicated to make it easier for you. Make your life just a little less, have a little less friction, as it were. So you want to make your life a little easy? You tired of your wheels flying off working with other suppliers? Well, head over to evans-mfg.com. You absolutely will not be sorry you did, or else we'll get you a free Walmart t-shirt.